Hi, and thanks for joining me. It's Patty from pspapercrafts, and I'm so glad you're here with me. I'm going to make this beautiful Christmas card. I'm using the Piece to You stamp set, and I love it. So this one has the little church with the cross and the snow and everything, and I did emboss the front layer, and then it's got a peekaboo, so when you open it up it has this inside. So I think it's really pretty. I made another one, and if you go on my blog, the last card a couple days ago, I made this with this image and the Silent Night, Holy Night, and I'm using this Starry Night glimmer paper, and I think it's so pretty. And then I cut a frame with the fabulous frames. So I think this is gorgeous. But today we'll make this card. You can get all the instructions for the other one if you go to my blog, though. So I'm using the Stylish Shapes. I think I use this on, you know, every other card or something. I use this a lot. And then I'm using the Embossing Folder, the Wintry 3D. So this is great. It comes with two folders, and one is the evergreen, and then this one is the one I'll use with the snowflakes. So we'll take this out. So the first thing I want to do is cut my little peekaboo there. I don't want to emboss it until after, because I don't want to run it through embossed and then flatten out the embossing, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. So I'm going to take a piece of basic white cardstock, and I'll get my machine out, my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. And we have the base plate, the number 2. I've been making Christmas card kits with my wreath, so I've been I made a lot of them. So it's got the green on here. And then this is going to be the second from the smallest circle. And we'll just put this, I'm kind of eyeballing it, put it right there. And then we'll run it through. Okay. And then I want to also do the card base. So we'll do that next, and then we'll do the embossing. So I'll just save this. I'll use as a sentiment label on something somewhere along the line. So let's line this up. We want to get it right where we want it. And then we'll put this kind of underneath it and make sure it's lined up nicely. Now it's not going to fit perfectly where there's you'll see the way it cuts, you're going to have a little bit of the die showing. So you just want that to be kind of even. And then we want to take this out. You can use a piece of Post-it tape if you want to make sure that it doesn't move. But I'm going to live dangerously here. I'm going to put it right down there. Put this over it and run it through. And I'm just going to go through and back. Okay, so now we have our kind of peekaboo layers here, I'll call them. And then again, this is one I'll save for some other reason. And then we have our layer here. Okay, now we want to do a little bit more cutting. I'm going to get another piece of Starry Sky, and I'm going to do this that we just used, and then I'm going to go with the larger one, and we're going to create the kind of the rim around this circle. And we just want to get this lined up so it's centered nicely as best you can, right? And we'll run this through, and I'm going to run it through and back. And again, if you want to use Post-it note or Post-it tape to do these so that things don't shift, you go right ahead. I do it sometimes more when I'm lining up something that I need to, you know, a die that goes around a stamped image. But when it's just something general like this, I don't usually do that. So now we have our rim, that will fit right around here to kind of offset it. Okay, so we have those pieces done. Actually, we have to do our embossing on this. So let me take these plates off. So this is a 3D embossing folder that we're going to use, and I have to run it through twice. So we're going to use the number 4 plate, and let me get the embossing folder right here. So we're going to run it through twice. You could run it through this way. I ran it through this way, and I tried to get it over pretty close to the edge and line it up with this. You don't want to go all the way to the edge because it doesn't always emboss all the way to the edge. But I want to line it up on that bottom line. And I know we usually emboss using the fold this way, but I'm going to do it this way. I think it helps with not creating too much of a crease because we have to run it through twice. Sorry about that. That was a loud one. So let's take this out, and then we have to run it through a second time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it over. I want to make sure that it's lined up again, but I also want to kind of look through it to see that I don't have a gap. So I want to make sure that I'm covering all of the area that wasn't embossed. Okay, so we're going to just run this through again. Just like this. And then I think we're done with the machine. It's more stamping and putting it together. Okay, so let's see how this came out. Great. Okay, so let's put this guy away. And the dies and the embossing folder. So now we have kind of a clear working area. Okay, so now what we want to do is adhere this right around the circle. Okay, so I'm going to use my liquid glue to do that. I still have a little bit of a cough, so if I don't talk, I'm fine. But when I talk, it kind of causes me to cough, so can't help that when I'm doing a video, right? So let's put this down. Kind of get it all nice and even there. Okay? So it's coming together. And now we want to put this right around it. So let's get a little bit of liquid glue on this. Just go right around the circle. And I love having dies that kind of nest, so you can do something like this. And having the liquid glue really makes it nice, so you can get it lined up perfectly and kind of move it around if you have to. All right, moving right along. So let's do our inside. Now let me get a pencil. So with my pencil, I'm going to lay this in here where I think I want it centered. And then I'll use my pencil, whoops. And we don't want to put this down yet. We want to just have it in the right place. And with my pencil, I'm going to just lightly draw a circle. And it's funny because I didn't have to erase it. Usually I do this and I erase it. But you want to just have an idea of where you want to stamp your image. And now with this image, these are very solid. So I used my Stamparatus. If you don't have this, you don't have to use it. It just makes it a little bit easier, I think. So let's get this lined up here. And we'll just put a magnet so it doesn't move, because you might have to go over it a couple of times to get really good coverage. With solid images, that kind of happens. So let's put this here just to hold this steady. Well, first let's get the stamp out. Usually I have my stamps out and mounted, but because this one is on the Stamparatus, I didn't take it out yet. So now we want to line this up where we think it will go. And I kind of want to eyeball where the church is, because I definitely want the church in the scene. If the rest of it gets cut out, I'm okay with it. Let's see. I want it kind of centered, but I want to make sure the church is in the circle. And this is why we don't put this down yet, because if it's wrong, we flip it over and do the back. Okay, so now when I press down on it, it picks this up, and then when I ink it, it's going to stamp it, and I can stamp it a second time, a third time, as many as I want. And this is also great, the Stamparatus, if you're doing, you know, kind of a manufacturing line where you're doing multiple cards, maybe like your Christmas cards, and you just want to keep stamping and stamping. So I think I have good coverage, but we'll push down. And see what it looks like. See, I think there's something with my stamp. It's kind of cloudy, so let's do it again. I don't know if you can see it. I just feel like there's like these little spots that aren't covered good. And you could just keep going with this now. That's perfect. Okay, so let's put this away. And then I can just clean this off right on here with my Stampin' Scrub. Or chamois is what I use. All right, so let's close this, or let's do our sentiments. So I have just a strip, 1/2 inch strip of basic white. And what am I doing here? May God's hope and love shine on you this season. So I'm just going, and this is a very juicy pad, so I'm going to go very light on it. And I don't know if you ever notice your stamps, there's a lot of rubber up here. So I just want to keep that in mind. It's not really centered. I don't know how they cut these, but this stamp set for me, a lot of the stamps had this extra rubber. So if that happens, you just want to keep that in mind when you're stamping it, so you're more centered. Okay, it's a little crooked, but I think it's good. And then on this one, I just put this Peace to You at Christmas, and it didn't really fit right in here, so I just went a little bit below it, and I thought it was perfect. Okay, so let's put these aside. Let's close this up so we don't get into trouble. And this we want to put in, and hopefully everything worked out okay. See? Perfect. So we can put this down, and then we also want to just banner this one. So I'm just using the Banner's Pick-a-Punch, so it does a point or a flag, or you can manually flag this, you know, with scissors. I like to use this because I don't do too good with the scissors. Okay, and then let me just snip this end. And then I have a piece of the Starry Sky that's 3/4 of an inch. So I'll do one end, and then I'll try to kind of eyeball it and figure out the other end. Okay, so let's just snip this off. I cut it really kind of crooked. And if it's too short or too long, I can just snip it again. But I think that's good. All right, so let's put our card together. Let's put this down first, and I'm going to use my Stamp and Seal. You could use whatever adhesive you like. And I just think this Starry Sky is perfect for both of these cards. This one and then this one that I made. It kind of just continues on with the sky, I think. So we have that one done. Let's just put this down. And then I want to put it down with dimensionals. So it just pops up a little bit. All right, so let me get the dimensionals. So we'll just put a few on the back of these, and then I added some iridescent pearls as well. So let's put this down. I love the iridescent pearls. I've been using them quite a bit. They're just so pretty. A little bit different than just the plain pearls. And we'll just put this right here. Okay, and then the iridescent pearls, I just put the little ones on, and I put, I put one, let me do it this way, right in the center of that snowflake. And you could try to do the center of snowflakes. I did put one here. And we'll put one here. Now you could put more on. I did put more on this one, but I think I'm just going to do the 3 on this one. So these are the 2 cards. I think they're really pretty. I love this set. This set is kind of right up my alley, and very easy, especially with the Stamparatus, where you can just make a scene pretty quickly with these 2, and then the sentiments are beautiful. But thanks so much for joining. If you have any questions about this, let me know. You can email me, patty@pspapercrafts.com, or just leave me a comment. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I will be doing a 12 weeks of Christmas in October, so stay tuned for that. All right, thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye.